future of learning is not just up to the schools. We used to think about education as just about schools, but in fact, if you look at the school day and the school year, we have a very short school year compared to other countries, which go on about 200 days a year. Our school year is, and some of you from the San Diego area districts can confirm this, about 180 days. Many nations have another month of learning for their kids. So that long summer vacation, you know why it's there. It goes back 100 years to when we were a more agrarian society. And it was for the kids to help bring in the crops. So I hope your kids are doing that, because that's why they have the long summer vacation. You know, starting in about 4 weeks, they should be harvesting the crops and bring them in before school starts in September. So I like to say that now kids should be harvesting ideas. They should be harvesting learning, and that the summer offers a real opportunity for this. I like to call the summer the third semester. I've seen programs where kids learn more during 6 weeks or 8 weeks during the summer than they did the previous semester in school. They're out in nature, they're in places like Children's Museum, they're in public libraries, they're learning things and getting experiences that can really propel their learning. Just a quick word about myself. Sometimes people have asked me, how did you get interested in this? And oh my God, 4 decades? Are you that old? What happened was I was in college. I went to Harvard College and met a professor who was an advisor to Sesame Street. And I started working in the research department of Sesame Street when I was 19. My first job out of college was at Sesame Workshop. A couple years later, 1982, we're producing this program called Big Bird in China. That is the production crew on the Great Wall of China. Do you see me there? My hair's a little longer, actually, 30 plus years ago, but this is the experience that propelled me to think about educational innovation, the fact that we could use media and technology, old technology, television 30 years ago. Sesame Street is turning 46, I believe, this fall. So it's one of the most successful innovations in education. The fact that we could make it more joyful, the kids would want to learn. Can we do more of that? We could use Muppets and animation and music and humor. Humor just not only for the kids, but also for their parents. That was my experience. I sometimes say my learning journey has taken me from the longest street in the world. There are versions of Sesame Street around the world now, in Asia, in the Arabic version, Iftaya Sim Sim, in the Arabic nations, Zhimajia, Sesame Street in China. Longest street in the world to a galaxy long ago and far, far away. TED Talks, of course. Love TED Talks. You can learn so much in 14 minutes, can't you? Here's a great TED Talk. Clay Shirky, a futurist at NYU, says that we are living in the age of the greatest expansion of human creativity ever in the history of humankind. Think about that. We are living in this age where people are expressing through every medium what they know. And that can be as true for our young people and our students as it is for you. Clay Shirky says, if you think about it on your smartphone, every medium we've ever invented for capturing, storing, presenting, expressing knowledge, every medium, the book, the newspaper, music, video, photography, every medium is right next to every other medium right here on this device. And it's now at a price point where we can now talk about giving every kid in San Diego, every kid in California and in the nation, access to what is now available on the internet. The reason this is here is that I used to track a statistic. How long does it take for an entire day's worth of video to be uploaded to YouTube? It used to take 5 minutes. I used to say, in just 5 minutes, people from around the world are uploading video of their experiences to YouTube. And now it's less than 1 minute. So this is Edutopia.org, a more ideal learning environment. That's what we're all about. That's our website. And there are films there, and I'll show you a couple of them on slides. And maybe if I have a chance, I'll show you one more. Getting about 1 million visitors now. Thanks. Some of you may have heard our underwriting on NPR. Support for NPR is provided by the George Lucas Educational Foundation, producers of Edutopia.org, What Works in Education. I wrote this book about leading edges of innovation, 6 leading edges of innovation, based essentially on our work at Edutopia.org. Here are the edges. We can now talk about not just learning anytime, any place. You're familiar with that. You know that you carry these devices. You can get information anytime, anywhere you are. But what about a more flexible learning landscape where kids can take different paths, any path, and maybe vary the time it takes? For kids who can learn a certain topic, a certain concept quickly, they can move ahead more quickly. If they need more time, they can slow down the pace. But any path, any pace. So these edges, I think you can understand what they're about. New forms of curriculum and assessment, very important to change the assessment because what gets tested is what gets taught. So we need to change the assessments. Technology, of course, at a price point now where every kid can have their own device. Varying learning time and place. I've talked about the summer as a third semester for learning. Co-teaching and co-learning. That young boy, Quinn, he's teaching. He's teaching his teachers and he's teaching his peers, but he's also learning. In this new learning landscape, we should all think of ourselves as teachers and as learners. Youth, of course, perhaps the most important edge, the largest edge of innovation, what young people can now do and learn things earlier. But it's the thinking edge. The thinking edge is the most important edge, changing our thinking about what this is about. I'm giving you a lecture. This is a very typical, traditional form of instruction. But if we had more time, we'd do more of a workshop, and you would get a chance to form teams and talk about what you can do to support this new learning landscape in San Diego. We'd talk about what are your interests, what are your passions, what would you like to be part of. There would be choice. There would be a chance for you to express how you'd like to be part of this new learning landscape.